Welcome to Arena Madness. In the first 4 games of the 2025-26 season, a true freshman averaged 19.8 points and 4.7 assists. He shot 48.9% from the field. In one game, he made 5 three-pointers and finished with 21 points. In spring play, he produced 32 points and 11 assists at the Iverson Classic. These are not isolated flashes. They are a question written in statistics. The Razorbacks roster, 2025-26, is not a ledger of certainties. It is a map of potential. Each position contains a candidate whose emergence could change outcomes in SEC play, alter tournament seeding, and shift the narrative surrounding a coach's recruiting record. This film examines those candidates. It asks a single central question: which X factors will break out, and how will their breakout alter Arkansas's ceiling? The story that follows is organized by position. Each chapter isolates the most likely breakout, traces the evidence present in the early season and the prior year, and then locates that player within a broader team projection. The closing chapter considers legacy. It measures not only wins and losses, but influence on seeding, on style, and on the recruiting message that follows a single season. The first X factor waits at the point of attack. Darius Acuff Jr. arrived at Arkansas as a 5-star recruit. He entered the 2025 class ranked as the #1 point guard and #10 overall prospect. In the early 2025-26 sample, his numbers read like a challenge to projection. Through 4 games, he averaged 19.8 points and 4.7 assists. He shot 48.9% from the floor. Against Central Arkansas, he hit 5 of 8 from 3 and led the team with 21 points. At the 2025 Iverson Classic All-American game, he was 14 of 23 for 32 points and added 11 assists. Those performances combined scoring and playmaking in a way that scouts often reserve for polished upperclassmen. DJ Wagner arrived with a different resume. In 2024-25, Wagner ranked 7th in the SEC in assists turnover ratio at 2.23. He averaged 11.2 points and 3.64 assists. He accounted for 131 total team assists. Wagner's numbers represent stability. They represent a facilitator who can manage possessions and reduce costly turnovers. The tactical question is precise. If Acuff can sustain high efficiency scoring while maintaining playmaking, he becomes a primary creator. If Wagner retains his distributional efficiency, he can stabilize a backcourt that now features 2 high-usage guards. The brief frames 2 likely outcomes. In one, Acuff breaks out immediately and operates as the primary shot creator. In the other, Acuff's scoring elevates the offense, while Wagner shifts into a defined secondary role, ball distributor and secondary scorer. Each outcome affects rotation, lineup construction, and defensive matchups across the SEC. The next chapter considers the wing. The perimeter scoring complement to whichever guard team the Razorbacks run will be decisive. At the shooting guard slot, the Razorbacks possess 2 contrasting X factors: a high-profile freshman and a developing sophomore. Meleek Thomas arrived as the 2nd-ranked shooting guard in the 2025 class and the #9 prospect overall. Across 4 games, he averaged 17.8 points and 4.8 assists. He shot 87.5% from the free throw line. In the win over Central Arkansas, he scored 21 points and hit 4 three-pointers. He recorded 6 free throws, made on 6 of 6 shooting against Sanford, while adding 17 points and 4 assists. Thomas compiled 19 assists to 5 turnovers in the early sample, an assist to turnover ratio that suggests playmaking instincts beyond a typical wing profile. Billy Richmond III represents a different path to impact. A sophomore in 2025-26, Richmond produced critical late season performances in 2024-25. He posted a career high 15 points against Ole Miss and led Arkansas with 16 points and 9 rebounds against St. John's in the NCAA Tournament. Coaches credited his two-way intensity and his ability to spark runs. As a secondary ball handler, Richmond offers rotation flexibility when Thomas rests or when Calipari elects to stagger primary creators. The underlying decision is strategic. If Thomas sustains perimeter efficiency and playmaking, Arkansas fields 2 5-star freshmen capable of creating their own offense from the wing. If Thomas requires minutes to adjust and Richmond continues to ascend, team retains veteran guard play and defensive toughness on the perimeter. Either way, a breakout at this slot shapes spacing, secondary assists, and late-game shot creation. The wing's performance will determine whether perimeter scoring becomes multiplicative or merely additive. Next, the small forward and the question of continuity. Karter Knox's offseason decision dominated Arkansas's personnel narrative. He filed in the draft while maintaining college eligibility. His return would preserve two-way continuity at the wing. Knox closed the prior season on a measurable upswing. Over Arkansas's final 13 games, including the NCAA Tournament, he averaged 11.3 points and shot 57.1% from the field. In tournament play, he produced 15 points and recorded 4 blocked shots in a single game while converting 9 of 11 free throws. Preseason external rankings placed Knox among the top small forwards, entering 2025-26 with praise for his scoring potential, size, and three-level scoring floor. His freshman season percentages, 46.2% from the field, 35% from three, and 80.2% at the line, provide a baseline for projected improvement. Knox's decision to remain would offer Arkansas an experienced wing capable of both scoring and defending elite perimeter opponents in the SEC. His absence would force a reallocation of minutes and responsibility across younger wings and guards. In short, Knox represents continuity. He is a multiplier for the backcourt's developing talents. What follows is the interior game. The power forwards and centers determine how perimeter production survives contact and finishes possession. Trayvon Brazile enters 2025-26 as the most seasoned post player on the roster. His path includes multiple high major stops: Kentucky, Missouri, and Arkansas. The breakout he seeks is less about raw upside and more about consistency. Early season data show Brazile producing strong finishes. He logged a career high 23 points on 7 of 7 shooting against San Jose State. He averaged 6.7 rebounds and 14.3 points in the early games. He posted a game with 4 steals, an unusual stat line for an interior player, which signals escalation in effort and situational awareness. 2 transfers supplied depth and stylistic options. Meleek Thomas from Florida State posted 14.2 points and 7.6 rebounds while shooting 59.6% in the ACC. He projects as an interior presence with finishing efficiency and rebound profile. Nick Pringle, a transfer from South Carolina, delivered 57.2% shooting and 6.3 rebounds across 30 starts. Both men bring SEC and ACC experience. The question is leadership versus matchup-driven substitution. If Brazile assumes consistent finishing and defensive rebounding, he anchors the front court. If Pringle or Ewan outperform him in efficiency or spacing, coaching decisions will reflect matchup optimization. In either scenario, the power forward slot will determine whether perimeter creators face sustainable interior resistance or recurrent rebounding deficits. That interior resistance leads directly to the film's final front court chapter, the center. Elmire Jovic is a 7-footer from Bosnia. His pre-college record includes 13.1 points and 10.0 rebounds per game at the 2023 U18 European Championship Division B. He arrived in Fayetteville with a physical profile, listed height and mass, that suggests rim protection and interior presence. In early American collegiate minutes, his playing time remained limited, but his combination of size and athleticism marks him as a possible late-game anchor. The brief describes Jovic as a hidden starter, a player whose development could convert him from a bench contributor into a role that affects opponent strategy in tournament settings. Jovic's impact, given the available evidence, will be defensive and situational. If his rim protection and finishing translate to consistent rotation minutes, the Razorbacks gain a physical deterrent in late possessions. If that translation fails to materialize, interior minutes will skew toward experienced transfers, and the team will rely on small ball spacing to offset size mismatches. With perimeter creation and interior stability outlined, the film now considers the composite effect on team performance. The Razorbacks' 2024-25 arc provides context. The prior season began 0-5 in SEC play. A late 8-5 surge produced a number 10 NCAA Tournament seed and a Sweet 16 appearance. The 2025-26 roster arrives with different variables. 2 5-star freshmen, Acuff and Thomas, offer increased offensive firepower. If both fulfill recruiting expectations defined in the brief as 18-plus points per game and 40% three-point accuracy, the offense shifts materially. Acuff's early 19.8 points per game and Thomas's early 17.8 points per game, combined with Wagner's distributional stability, project to an offensive efficiency that could average 72-plus points per 100 possessions in SEC play. That projection is not a certainty. It is conditional. The brief ties seeding differentiation to consistency. The difference between a 4 seed and a 7 seed, the document argues, depends on whether these X factors sustain efficiency over conference play. Rebounding and interior defense also matter. Brazil's 6.7 rebounds per game and emerging scoring consistency, along with Ewan's documented 59.6% career shooting and Pringle's SEC experience, provide the front court stability necessary to protect a backcourt heavy offense. Without that stability, perimeter production risks being neutralized by offensive rebounding gaps and paint deficit. Finally, the brief frames a narrative consequence. Calipari's recruiting track record occasionally meets skepticism in year one seasons when 5-star talents underperform. If Acuff, Thomas, and Knox deliver statistical consistency, the coach's system and recruiting narrative gain empirical support. That message, the brief suggests, will influence the attention of 2026 and 2027 prospects who watch whether a program can convert elite incoming talent into immediate on-court value. The next chapter places these possibilities into a concluding perspective on legacy and follow-on impact. Legacy in college basketball is both immediate and derivative. A single season's win total sits beside the narrative it generates. For Arkansas in 2025-26, the legacy question is explicit. Did the X factors emerge in ways that altered institutional trajectory? If Acuff sustains 18-plus points with a maintained assist rate, and if Thomas reaches 40% from 3 in SEC play, the team profile shifts. Tournament seeding improves. Home court advantages through the round of 32 become realistic. The program's recruiting message gains support. Evidence that elite freshmen can provide immediate value inside the Calipari system. Conversely, if the freshmen fail to sustain efficiency and if interior stability remains inconsistent, the team's ceiling likely reverts to late tournament exits, an outcome that leaves recruiting narratives unresolved. Trevon Brazile and the transfer bigs represent the defensive foundation. Their performance determines whether perimeter scoring can withstand physical conference play. Karter Knox' presence or absence alters continuity and wing defense. Elmire Jaffich's development controls the degree to which the team can deploy situational rim protection measured against prior seasons. The Razorbacks' ceiling in 2025-26 is contingent. It does not rest on singular superstardom. It rests on simultaneous developments across position. The most consequential narrative is simple. One breakout at the right moment can change outcomes. Several breakouts sustained across weeks of conference play can redefine seeding and change recruiting perception in measurable ways. This is a season of conditional outcomes. The metrics are clear. The variables are known. The margin between Sweet 16 and Elite 8, between a middle seed and a top seed, depends on whether these X factors emerge and endure. The Razorbacks roster reads like a study in interdependence. A freshman's scoring surge becomes meaningful only if assist rates and spacing support it. A wing's return strengthens perimeter defense only if interior rebounding holds. A center's minutes matter most when late game stops are required. This film does not predict an outcome. It presents the evidence. It identifies the candidates. It measures impact. In Calipari's second season, the difference between a program's narrative proving itself and remaining an open question lies in the emergence of these X factors. The numbers in the brief are the leading indicator. The season will reveal whether they mature into sustained advantages. Arena Madness will watch, record, and report. The documentary ends where this investigation begins, with a single question embedded in statistics. Which X factor will break out? And when it does, what will it change?